Hey everybody, Charles from GMAT Ninja here. If you clicked on this video, you might have heard GMAC, the people who bring us the GMAT exam, have formally introduced superscoring. So now there's going to be a super score that can appear on your actual score report. So 5 things I want to do in this video. First, I'm going to explain how superscoring works, give you a little simple example, show you what's going to appear on your score report. Second, we will talk very explicitly about what schools see and what they don't see with the superscoring. Third, we'll talk about what happens if you took the test before this change. You are still eligible for a super score if you took the exam, let's say last year. Fourth, we're going to talk about how we think schools are going to use this. We know a few things. Some things will still evolve on us, but we'll talk about everything we know about how schools will use super scoring moving forward. And finally, we'll give you some practical advice should you run out and go take the GMAT a bunch of times, take advantage of this. Spoiler alert, the answer to that is no, but we'll talk a little bit about what you can and should do. All right, simple example here. Let's imagine that we have a test taker, takes the exam 3 times, once in May, once in June, once in July. And darn it, just can't put together the best sections on every single day. So 80 on quant the first time, 74 is on the others, 80 on verbal the second time, 80 on data insights the third time, everything else is 74. Obviously, very, very stylized example, not a real one. Really, really odd that somebody would get scores just like this. But for the sake of keeping the numbers clean, here you go. 80, 74, 74 is going to give you a 525 composite score, no matter what. But if you take those best scores, so you take this individual's top section score across all 3 attempts, 80, 80, 80, that's going to give you a 605. So obviously, super scoring is very much in this to the advantage of this test taker, 525 on the individual attempts. But if they're super scoring, taking the very best section score in each exam, that comes out to a 605. That's going to look a whole lot better. So what exactly are schools going to see now? So as soon as you choose to send a score report to a school, and it could be off of any of these attempts. So let's say that you decide, hey, I'm just going to send that May 1st attempt to schools. They're going to see 2 things. They're going to see that May 1st attempt exactly as it is, 80, 74, 74, composite 525. They will also see a super score. So here's the super score, best section score on each attempt or across the multiple attempts, and a 605 if you were to add those up. Okay, there's one other thing they're going to see. Alongside this super score, they're going to see the dates that each one happened. So that 80 on quant, it's going to be labeled as a May 1st exam. This 80 on verbal, it's going to be labeled as June 1st. This 80 on data insights, it'll be labeled as July 3rd. So for what it's worth, schools will see the dates when you took each of these exams that gave you your best individual section scores, and they're also going to see whichever other attempts you decide to send. So if you were this test taker, you could choose to send all 3. That would be completely fine. You could choose to send just one. Either way, the school's going to get the same information, best section scores. It's just going to be added up so that they can see what that composite score would have been if all 3 80s had happened on the same day. Okay. Now, if you've taken the test before, so let's say you started taking the exam, 2025, and you're saying, well, wait a minute, this change just happened. It's the middle of 2026. Can I take advantage of a super score? The short answer is you can. Super scores will be automatically calculated for all attempts at the thing known as the GMAT Focus exam. GMAC doesn't always use that term, but for those of you who don't know, the GMAT exam changed in late 2023, early 2024. So the old one, sometimes people call it the GMAT Classic, sometimes it's called the GMAT 10th edition. That is not eligible for super scoring, but all exams taken in the GMAT Focus format, late 2023 onward, will be eligible for super scoring. And if you're not sure if your scores were from the GMAT Focus or the previous edition, if your composite score ends in a 5, it's a GMAT Focus score. So that will automatically give you a super score. The only thing you need to do is make sure that you send any single attempt to schools after super scoring becomes a thing, and they're going to see both the attempts you send and they will see this super score. Okay, possibly more importantly, how will all of this be used? How is this going to affect admissions? How is this going to affect your odds of admissions? And what should you do about it? Really important thing to keep in mind. Yes, this is kind of a big deal in the sense that your score report to schools will look different. They're going to see this number. But keep in mind, this isn't really new information. They know your section scores, right, for any attempts you send them. One of the pieces of advice we've always given to students is, don't just send your best overall composite score. Send anything that you think adds to the case that you're ready for graduate school coursework. So for this individual, we would have said, hey, if you had 3 525s, please send all 3 because schools are going to see that you got an 80, you're capable of an 80 on all 3 sections. Were they explicitly super scoring, turning it into a 605? Not necessarily. We hear reports that schools kind of think that way. We know for a fact that they are going to look at these and go, okay, hey, this is somebody who can get an 80 on all 3 sections. We're going to take that into account, even though the composite on any individual day looks lower. So in a way, this isn't changing that much. It's the same information. Schools always looked at your best composite score. They always looked at your best section scores, always took that into account. They just have that number spelled out for them on the score report now. So we don't know exactly what policies are going to look like for admissions. Are schools going to be looking only at the super score? Are they going to be looking at the individual attempts? My bet is they're going to look at everything the same way they always had. Extra little piece of information. They're happy to have GMAC do the math for them on that super score. But other than that, remember, same information they've always seen. They're going to take those multiple attempts into account. And you might be wondering, a question we've gotten since the beginning of time, 25 plus years of tutoring. Do schools mind if you take it multiple times? Do they judge? The answer is a flat no to that. So they're especially happy to see upwards trajectories. They're happy to see somebody who's willing to keep going in and keep giving it a shot, as long as there is some improvement on something from test to test. It really paints you in a positive light. It is not going to hurt you. So when in doubt, guys, send any attempt that has any improvement on any section. Same advice we've been giving forever. Again, the big change here is just that they're going to see this number, but it shouldn't really change a whole lot of what you're doing. I don't think there's going to be a huge change in who gets in and who doesn't get in because of this, because again, schools have been looking at all these numbers since the beginning of time. They just have an extra little number here to help them out a little bit. One other thing to keep in mind. So schools might ask you on your application to tell them all of your attempts. We see that some now. I think we're going to see it more in the future. If they do that, just show them. Don't be shy about it. If you've taken the test once, 4 times, 7 times, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Show them what you've done. If there's a context to having a hard time on 6 of those test days and you did well on the 7th, that's fine. Tell them that context in your optional essay. Bottom line, don't be shy about showing them each attempt. And second, I don't think this is a huge, huge change. It's just this number is explicit now. Okay, so what else should you do? Should you run out and attempt the test again, just hoping for variance, hoping for a better section score somewhere? I would definitely not do that. So if you feel like your best section scores are pretty close to your ceiling, let it go, move on. Don't waste your resources running out and doing retakes of the GMAT for the sake of it. You don't want to spend your time and money that way. There are better things to do in terms of your applications. What I can say, same advice we've been giving forever. If you think you have room for improvement on at least one section, yeah, why not? Go take another swing. So yeah, now it's going to feel really good if you improve by 3 points on one section, even if the other 2 don't change, because that number in your score report will change. That's going to get a 20-point boost if you improve your data insights by 3 points, even if the other 2 go down. So is it an extra little reason why you might want to go do another retake? Sure, but I think it's a very small one. That advice would have held either way. If you think you've left points on the table on any individual section or on more than one section, by all means retake. But I don't want you going out and counting on variance, saying, well, what if I improve by 2 points randomly on a section today? Bad use of your resources. Schools are going to have all this information. They're going to take it in context, take it all with a grain of salt. So don't overreact to this. Don't go out and do a whole bunch of extra retakes or plan on a whole bunch of retakes for the sake of it. Retake until you feel like you've given your best performance on each of the 3 sections or something very close to it. Once you're there, let it go, move on with your life. You don't want to spend more time on the GMAT than you absolutely have to. All right. That's it for today. I hope that helped a little bit. If you enjoyed this, if it helped you, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. That helps other people find the video. If you have thoughts, questions, please let us know in the comments and we will do our best to help out. All right. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you next time.